Wrath of Angels. Chapter 1. Scene 5. The Cost, on the edge of the ruin storm. Month 12, year 256. The 41st millennium. The wounded filled the hangar bay like cargo no one wanted to inventory. Stretchers lined the deck until the pattern resembled a grid, each row a broken equation. Apothecaries moved with mechanical precision, sawing armor apart, stitching skin that no longer bled. The stench was arithmetic: copper, promethium smoke, and the sweet rancid tang of opened viscera. Candles guttered in pools of oil, wax dripping into maps of continents no cartographer would claim. A boy no older than 16 staggered in, with half his scalp gone. He tried to salute with the arm he still had, and collapsed before the gesture was finished. An apothecary caught him by reflex, hissed a curse through clenched teeth, and let the corpse slide gently to the deck. There was no time for reverence. The dead were counted in stacks, not names. One intercessor still breathed with his throat cut nearly through, lungs blowing bubbles in his own blood. An apothecary clamped the wound and muttered a prayer as his reductor needle pierced the man's chest. The prayer ran out before the heart did. Another warrior, both legs gone to shrapnel, bit down on a rosary bead to stifle screams as they cauterized the stumps. When he spat the bead out, it was cracked down the center. He asked for it back and tucked it under his tongue. Others fared worse. A Marine, ribs shattered, refused anesthetic and tried to rise from the table. "Not yet," he snarled, voice thick with blood. "I have vows to finish." He collapsed moments later, dragging down the tray of instruments with him, scalpels clattering like coins scattered on stone. The apothecary let him fall. There were too many still living who could be saved. The instruments lay uncollected, gleaming faintly in the hangar's light, as if waiting for the next body. A junior serf wandered the rows with a censer, spreading incense against the stink. His smoke trailed in letters that almost formed words. He shut his eyes and told himself it was only draft currents. He walked faster, as if outrunning what the smoke wanted to say. It was then the Watcher appeared. Small, hooded, faceless, its robes the color of dust and moonlight. It stood among the stretchers without sound, its tiny hands folded. The serfs recoiled, whispering of omens, of death given shape. Astartes pretended not to see it, their discipline armor against fear. But the chaplain inclined his head, ever so slightly, as if acknowledging a fellow custodian of silence. The Watcher did not move. It simply remained, present in the tally, as if it too had come to take account. Some swore its hood turned fractionally toward the stamping chambers, as though already keeping score. Armsmen dragged a shackled serf down a maintenance spine toward the execution chamber. He wept, not loudly, but with the tight breaths of a man who had been holding fear in too long. His crimes were mutiny in whispers, disobedience in tone, spreading panic with eyes that would not behave. He pleaded that he had only been afraid, that he had not meant the words the walls made him say. The armsman escorting him thought of soup. He thought of how it had tasted watered that morning, how it would taste watered again tonight. He marched as if the crying behind him were weather, yet the plea lodged under his ribs. Part of him envied the serf's release, the clean finality of it. His own fear had no such door waiting. He wondered if the chaplain might ever turn the Crozius on him, and if he would have the courage to beg as honestly. The chamber waited. The chaplain stood within, Crozius unchained now, the weapon heavy as a verdict. The head of the hammer glowed faintly in the dark, scripture etched along its wings like veins of fire. The serf fell to his knees. No words were exchanged. The chaplain raised the Crozius and brought it down. The sound it made was final, not loud, like a door closing on purpose. For an instant, The armsman thought he saw flame lick along the haft, as though the relic itself hungered for confession. He told himself later it was a trick of oil smoke. He did not believe himself. In the strategium, Serad sat alone with a stack of death chits. The parchment towered like a siege ladder. His pen dug too deep, split, and spilled ink in bruises across the page. He changed tools, reached for the brass stamp engraved, honored in silence, and pressed until the words blurred into the fibers. He worked with the rhythm of a man forging armor in the dark, each impact measured, each seal a blow against his own ribs. Darnath stood nearby, reading nothing, pretending his presence steadied the air. Kyle prayed with his eyes open, as if he feared what might appear when they were shut. Their silence was brittle, a quiet that would snap with any wrong syllable. Outside, the hangar hummed with work. Voices rose and fell. Names shouted for litters. Instructions barked. Litanies muttered by men who no longer believed their own mouths. Someone laughed once. It sounded like a cough with edges. The laugh carried down the corridors and lodged in men's ears like shrapnel. No one admitted to hearing it. By dawn bell, every survivor bore a mark. Some limped, others bled through their bandages. Others carried black smudges on their skin where ink and ash had rubbed into wounds. A few bore stranger scars, bloodshot eyes that never cleared, lips permanently split, fingers trembling as if stamping their own unseen ledgers. The cost branded them all. The ship itself seemed to mark them, each man altered, each man labeled as paid. Later, long after the last chit was stamped, Serad realized his hand was still moving in the stamping gesture, palm descending, thumb pressing, though no parchment remained. His wrist ached, but he did not stop at once. The ghost of duty continued even when the record ran out. His palm throbbed where the stamp's letters had bitten, honored in silence. He wanted another phrase, burned into the brass where no one else could read it. Released. He closed his fist until the imprint of the letters dug his skin, invisible but undeniable. The stamp's face was slick with ink and blood now, and for an instant he thought it pulsed in rhythm with the hololith still beating in the strategium beyond. The ship groaned around him. The phantom still paced the hull. The wound remained open, and so did he. This has been Wrath of Angels, Chapter 1, Scene 5, The Cot. Chapter 2, Scene 1 follows.